I found the receipts first, hotel charges in a city she never said she visited. Then her friend slipped up, mentioning a weekend I thought she spent with family. When I asked her, she said, "You were too boring. I needed to feel alive." I canceled her car insurance that night. The next morning, she called me screaming because we met on a Thursday night at a friend's house party in Charleston. Rachel was standing near the fire pit, drinking cheap boxed wine out of a mason jar and laughing way too loud at a joke someone else made. She had on a denim jacket with a tear at the sleeve, and her hair was up in a lazy ponytail that looked like it had been redone 3 times already that day. She wasn't the prettiest woman in the room, but she was the most alive. Like someone who'd never sat still a day in her life. I liked that about her. I was 34. She was 29. I had oil under my fingernails and dirt on my boots. She had dead cats, and a past she didn't talk much about. I didn't care. At the time, I wasn't looking for fireworks. I wanted quiet, steady, someone who would stay. She acted like she would. I owned a small auto repair shop my dad handed down after his second stroke. He passed away 6 months into our relationship. Rachel was there for all of it. Funeral, the mess with the will, cleaning out his house, she never once complained. I thought that meant she was the real deal. Someone you build a life with. Looking back, I think she liked the role more than the relationship. Playing the good girlfriend. Cooking dinner. Fixing up the guest room. Talking about maybe moving in full time. But I don't think she ever really loved me. Not the way I loved her. She started staying over more after the first year. Eventually just never left. Clothes in the closet, toothbrush next to mine. She took over the 3rd drawer in the kitchen. Started reorganizing the fridge. Told me I needed to put more plants in the house because it felt like a garage with a bed. I let her have her way. It felt good, being wanted. She made me laugh, kept me out of my own head. Even when I was up late dealing with inventory or working on customer cars, she'd pop into the garage and sit on the old cooler, just to be near me. For a while, that was enough. Then she asked for help with her car. It was a piece of junk Corolla that kept stalling out. I told her to trade it in. She said she couldn't afford it, so I bought her a used RAV4 from a wholesaler I trust. Good condition, 2018, low mileage. Put her on my insurance to keep costs down. She cried when I handed her the keys. Now I realize she was probably crying because she knew she had me. Things didn't start falling apart overnight. It was slow. Death by paper cuts. She started working late, more often at the clinic. Stayed out with her friends. Posted pictures on Instagram that didn't quite line up with where she claimed to be. I wasn't checking on her, I just noticed. I'm not a suspicious man by nature, but some things just stick out. The weekend that changed everything was in April. She told me she had to go to Asheville to help her mom clear out the garage. Her mom had a bad back, and I'd met her, seemed like the kind of woman who wouldn't ask for help unless she really needed it. So I didn't question it. She left Friday morning, took the RAV4. Texted me that night saying she'd made it, and they were ordering Thai food. I wished her good night, and went back to organizing tax receipts. Sunday night she came home. Looked tired but happy. Hugged me like she missed me. I didn't think anything of it. Then, 2 weeks later, I was updating the budget spreadsheet. That's when I saw it. $348.22 at the Marriott in Savannah. Not Asheville. Same weekend she was supposedly doing yard work with her mom. I stared at the transaction for a solid minute. My chest started to burn. I clicked the receipt. It had her name on it. 2 nights. King bed. Room service charges. No mention of any pet deposit. Which was weird because she always took her cat, Boomer, when she traveled. I called her. She answered on the second ring. "Hey babe," she said casually. I didn't waste time. "You said you were in Asheville 2 weekends ago. Why is there a charge in Savannah?" Pause. Then, "Oh, that." Yeah, Sarah asked me to help her book a room for her honeymoon. I used my card to hold it and forgot to tell you. I nodded, even though she couldn't see me. Right. Makes sense. It didn't. But I didn't push it. Not yet. The nail in the coffin came a week later. Sarah came over for wine night. I stayed in the garage, giving them space. But the window was cracked. Not on purpose. I was cleaning tools, not eavesdropping. But I heard it. Sarah laughing. Tom still thinks she was with her mom that weekend? Rachel. Sure, he's probably in the garage. Sarah. So? He's not gonna do anything. He never does. Rachel. I told you he's safe. I just needed something else. Something real. I froze. There was this burning in my chest. My whole body felt hollow. I stood there staring at the floor, waiting for it to stop. It didn't. When Sarah left, I walked into the house. Rachel was on the couch scrolling through TikTok like nothing happened. I stood there. Where were you that weekend? She didn't even flinch. Told you. Helping my mom. I heard you and Sarah. She looked at me. Didn't cry. Didn't lie. You were too boring, she said. I needed to feel alive. I didn't say a word. Just walked upstairs and got to work. I logged into the Geico app. Removed her from the policy. She'd been riding on my plan for 2 years. I opened our joint checking, moved my half to my personal account, and disconnected her card. I changed the Wi-Fi password. I opened the shared Netflix, changed the profile name to Cheater, and logged out of every device. Then I went to sleep. Next morning, my phone blew up at 7:13 a.m. Tom, where's my car? She parked outside some apartment complex. Marcus's, I figured. It had been towed overnight. Illegally parked. She tried calling roadside and found out she had no active insurance. Couldn't get it out of the lot. She called me, screaming. Crying. You left me stranded. I could have gotten hurt. You said you needed to feel alive. I told her. Figure it out. I hung up. She called back 12 times. Then she showed up 2 days later. Eyes puffy. Jacket inside out. Said Marcus wasn't who she thought he was. That she made a mistake. I gave her a cardboard box with her stuff and shut the door. She texted me a week later, said she was pregnant. I told her to send proof. She never did. Then Marcus called me. Told me she said I'd threatened her. That I was unhinged. That I was stalking her. That's when I knew she wasn't just a liar. She was dangerous. Marcus calling me was the push I needed. At first, I didn't believe he'd actually reach out. But he did. Found my number through one of Rachel's old call logs on her phone, he said. Claimed he just wanted to clear the air. I let him talk. She said you showed up to her job. Said you made a scene and threatened her. Told me she had to move in with me to feel safe. I laughed, not because it was funny, but because I was done being quiet. Let me guess. She also said she was pregnant? He paused. Yeah, how'd you know? She told me the same thing. Never sent proof. She's lying to you, just like she lied to me. I didn't tell him everything. Just enough. I didn't care about him. But I wanted him to feel what I felt, confused, off balance, questioning everything. That night I got a text from Rachel. You're ruining my life. I didn't reply. She was doing that fine on her own. 3 days later I got served. She filed a restraining order. Said I'd been harassing her. Said I was unstable. Claimed I'd threatened her and was stalking her location. None of it was true. But I still had to show up in court. I brought printouts. Screenshots. Receipts. The hotel charge in Savannah. The texts. The calls she made after I supposedly threatened her. The judge saw through it. Dismissed it on the spot. Still, Just standing in front of her in that courtroom made my skin crawl. She looked right at me while the judge talked and smiled. Like this was a game. Like she was proud of the chaos she caused. I found out later through a mutual friend that Marcus had kicked her out the night of the court hearing. She had lied about the pregnancy to him too. Said he was the father, then backpedaled when he asked for a test. She'd been crashing with Sarah ever since. That same friend also told me Rachel had been seeing someone else before Marcus. A guy named Dean. Married. 2 kids. I'd been her backup. Her fallback plan. That was the night I stopped feeling sad. I started planning instead. She'd left a lot of stuff at my place when she moved out. Mostly clothes, makeup, small things. But one thing stood out, a folder. It was tucked behind a stack of cookbooks in the pantry. Inside were papers from her student loan provider, some overdue notices, and, oddly enough, a handwritten letter she never sent. Addressed to a woman named Angela. The tone was strange. Apologetic. Almost desperate. I looked up the name. Angela was Marcus's ex. Turns out Rachel didn't just fall into his life. She injected herself. She found him through Angela. They worked together at a salon Rachel used to visit. One thing led to another. She stalked his Facebook, found out where he worked, where he lived, what gym he went to. She made it look like they met by accident. It was never an accident. That's when I realized she hadn't just cheated. She was calculated. Smart in a cold, surgical way. She chose people who gave her what she wanted. Until they stopped. Then she moved on. So I made a choice. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to end the game quietly. Carefully. And very, very permanently. I knew Rachel still had her name on the lease for the apartment she had before moving in with me. It was a tiny 1-bedroom over by the train tracks, with paper-thin walls and a broken heater. She never formally ended the lease. Just left when her lease expired, never paid the last month's water bill, and ghosted the landlord. So I called the property manager. Told them who I was, said I had Rachel's new contact info, and wanted to help clear things up. All of it was technically true. They were happy to hear from me. Turns out Rachel still owed for damages. Over $800. Cigarette burns in the carpet, stains on the bathroom ceiling, a broken cabinet hinge in the kitchen. All ignored. The landlord had sent her to collections. I gave them her new number. Then I contacted the collection agency she was listed with, under a different name. Taylor R. Monroe. Apparently, she'd been using her middle name for credit cards. Probably to hide spending from someone. Maybe Marcus. Maybe me. So I dug deeper. I looked up her record in Charleston County's public court database. 1 eviction notice. 2 traffic tickets. And a civil suit from a woman named Alicia, another former roommate. I found Alicia on Facebook and reached out. We talked on the phone the next night. "You're Tom?" she asked. "Yeah." She let out a long sigh. "Jesus. You're like the 5th guy she's done this to." She told me Rachel had been living with her in Greenville back in 2017. Started dating Alicia's cousin behind her back. Trashed the apartment after Alicia confronted her. Moved to Charleston soon after. A pattern. Lie, manipulate, drain, run. And I wasn't done learning. Sarah, Rachel's loyal one-night friend, reached out next. Drunk, from the way her voice wobbled on the phone. She told me she'd kicked Rachel out. "She went through my purse," Sarah said. "Took my debit card. Tried to Venmo herself $200. Said it was an accident. I'm so ing done. I didn't say much. Just listened. She's not okay, Tom. Like, something's wrong with her. And she's telling everyone you're stalking her." I laughed. Sarah didn't. "She's saying you broke into her car. That you planted stuff. I hadn't even seen her car since she lost it to impound. But the fact she was spreading stories meant she was panicking. That meant I was getting close to the truth. A week later, Marcus texted me. Said Rachel had left. No warning. No note. Just took a few bags and vanished. She'd stolen a silver chain his mom gave him and left behind a used pregnancy test with the trash barely covering it. Negative. He sounded defeated. I didn't reply right away. But then I got another message. From Angela. His ex. She sent me a screenshot. It was Rachel, messaging from a burner account. You don't know the whole story. Tom hurt me. Marcus was just part of it. I'm not the villain here. That's when I saw it. The shift. She wasn't playing victim anymore. She was trying to erase her tracks. But she didn't know what I had planned. She disappeared for nearly 2 months. No posts. No texts. No random sightings. Just gone. But I wasn't done. Not yet. I started collecting everything. Every message. Every screenshot. Names, dates, voice recordings, texts from Alicia, Sarah, Marcus, even Angela. I printed hotel receipts, time-stamped social media posts, the eviction record, the collection notices, and court records. I took photos of what she left behind. Letters, notes, things she forgot when she left. I organized it all into a binder. Black. Thick. Neat tabs. Then I found her again, by accident. She resurfaced in Columbia, South Carolina. Someone I used to work with saw her working at a local pet supply store. New name tag. Ray M. New job. New apartment. New lies. So I made a choice. I wasn't going to scream or slash tires. I wasn't going to show up at her job. That's what she would have done. I was going to hit her where it hurt. I started with her license. Rachel had been using a change of address service to reroute mail to her new place. But she never updated her DMV record. Which meant she was technically still living at my old address, which gave me a legal path to request a copy of her driving record, as the primary insurance holder she used to be listed under. It was a long shot, but it worked. I saw her newly reported traffic violation, driving without insurance. And that gave me the next move. I called the impound lot. Her RAV4 had never been picked up. By now, fees had stacked up so high it was marked for auction. I requested to purchase the vehicle, and because it had been in my name at the time of purchase, I was allowed to bid early under the state's abandoned title process. I bought it back for $315. That was my car now. I had it towed to the shop, cleaned it up, then sold it privately for $6,000. Every dollar went to paying off her last water bill, her storage unit, and forwarding the rest of her debt paperwork directly to her new employer, who I confirmed handles all wage garnishment filings in-house. I didn't stop there. I mailed the binder. Not to her. To her employer's HR department. I included only facts. Her history of financial fraud, the fake pregnancy, the burner accounts, the civil suit. No opinions. No threats. Just documentation. HR couldn't legally fire her for personal problems, but when they saw that she had used a fake name and social on her application, they didn't need to. She was fired within the week. Alicia messaged me the day after. She's blowing up on Facebook. Said someone's out to destroy her life. You. Not me. She did that herself. A few days later she showed up. Back at my shop. She looked thinner. Tired. Like the shine had finally worn off. Her jacket was buttoned wrong, and she was shaking. Please, she said. Stop. I lost my job. I lost my apartment. I get it, okay? You won. You made your point. I stood there behind the counter. Just stared. You think this was about winning? She didn't speak. You went after my sanity. My home. My name. And now you want it to stop because life finally punched back? Tears welled up. I'm sorry. No, you're sorry it didn't work this time. She left without another word. I watched her walk across the gravel lot. She didn't turn back. 2 weeks later, I got a letter in the mail. A handwritten note from her mother. It was short. I don't know what happened between you and my daughter, but I know she's not well. I just hope you both find peace. I'm sorry for whatever part she played in hurting you. Denise. I folded the letter and put it in a drawer. I moved on. Not overnight. Not easily. But I did. I sold the house. Closed the shop. Moved up to Hendersonville. Smaller town, quieter pace. I run a little motorcycle repair spot out of a converted barn now. Rachel? Last I heard, she was in Florida. Working at a marina under yet another name. Burned through every friend she had left. She tried to send me one last message about 6 months ago. Something about needing closure. I blocked the number. Because I already had mine. Some people chase drama to feel alive. Me? I've never felt more alive than the moment I watched karma catch up to her. And knew I didn't even have to lay a finger.